Hi, thank you for watching Chittarupa Yoga. Today, it's all about our hips. We are going to place our hips through a full range of motion from some standing, seated, and probably even some prone poses today. I'm going to recommend having a block or two if you have that, or a rolled up blanket or towel will work, a strap, belt, or a towel, something that you can use as well, just in case you want to enhance your poses a little bit if you happen to have any of that stuff. Like I said, we're going to put our hips through a full range of motion, increasing the flexibility, strength, and range of motion at our hips today. And we're going to explore those for some different levels. So take a moment to grab the stuff that you might want. Meanwhile, check out that Patreon link in the description below. And in the comments, answer me this question. What is your favorite hip stretch? You can wait until after you watch the video and see what we do today. See which one you think is going to be your favorite. And let me know about that in the comments below. All right? So we're going to begin standing in our mountain pose. And as with all our yoga, let's just begin with a few deep breaths into our belly. Bringing our awareness to our breath. And bringing our awareness to our body, especially to our hip area. We're going to give it a full warm up. And like I said, some nice deep stretches. We're going to start with some standing work and then move to those deep stretches. Let's go ahead and switch to deep 3-part breaths. And we're going to go ahead and begin with a few pelvic tilts, slight bend in the knees, shifting our hips forward and back. So thinking about more in our navel than in our hips and our glutes. Then we're going to start to make it bigger, taking it into the glutes. So pushing the hips back, bringing them forward. Push it back, bring them forward. We can also add arms here to increase our heart rate, getting blood through our whole body. Let's begin to take this bigger when we're ready. Now let's lift up, stepping out wide on our mat, turning sideways so we can begin, again, warming up through our legs, hips. We can begin to take this forward. We might even take it down to the floor. Just remember, the deeper you go, the more you're going to feel it. And when we're ready, we're going to speed this up. Let's come back to the center and let's all fold completely forward. Inhaling up, and we're going to keep our feet wide like this. Let's take the set of one toes up. We're going to find warrior 2. Inhale up, exhale, warrior 2. Inhale up and turn the feet, exhale. We're going to start to add on. Inhale, exhale, warrior 2. Inhale, reverse warrior, exhale, warrior 2. Switch. Exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. So warrior 2 is already one of our hip opening poses. One more time each side. And again, let's reach back this time, opening up, coming forward. And we will lift up from here. Let's walk our feet together. We're going to find Tadasana, or mountain pose, at the top edge of our mat. And let's slide one foot straight back, staying up on our toes. So opening up the front of our hip here. Arms reaching up if we're feeling that. So one of the things our hips do is they move forward and back. We can even take easy fists to our bottoms and a little back bend here. Increasing the stretch to the front of our hip, increasing that range of motion, lengthening those muscles. If we sit a lot, this is an exercise we want to do to help open that up. Now let's come down, lower that foot for warrior 1, but we're going to straighten out and come to our pyramid, which is one spot where we might use one or two of our blocks. I love doing this one with blocks because it allows us stability in our pose. Let's think about drawing the back hip forward and our front hip back. We want to keep our knee unlocked. Of course, we can also hold onto our own leg. So here again, we're stretching the back side of our hip while working all at the same time. Let's go ahead and bring this up, and we're just going to take it to the other side. So let's bring our other foot straight back. Again, opening up through here, arms, we can reach our arms up. And just begin to notice, more often than not, our hips tend to be different. So just noticing how the front of this hip feels compared to the front of that one felt. Let's see if we can add our back bend to this. And again, we're listening to our own body about how deep we go into any pose that we do. Now let's lift up, spiral that foot down to warrior one, and then we're going to straighten our legs out and come to our pyramid. Drawing that back hip forward, front hip back. Finding a place where we can breathe. And again, no locking out of our knee. Any pose that we're in, when we're holding it, we want to make sure that we breathe. When we breathe easily, then we're in a good place. Now let's lift up from here. So let's turn sideways on our mat. And we're going to step out wide again. And this time we're going to come either halfway forward or all the way forward if you're comfortable there. And we're going to slide or walk our hands over to one side. And here again, it's up to you how deep you want to go. We can actually bring this down even further, keeping our knee back behind our toes, if we want to go all the way down. And again, making sure that we can breathe. Now let's take it over to the other side. So just glide or walk the hands. And let's come back to the center, hinging down. And then up, and while we've got our hips open, let's go ahead and turn the toes of one foot out, finding our warrior two. So we're gazing down our arm. Let's think about drawing this knee out toward the pinky toe. Again, opening up our hips here. And we're going to take it to our triangle. So let's straighten out, shift our hips back, maybe back and forth a few times. Keep shifting, and let's reach. And eventually we're going to make our way over to our triangle where again we can use blocks or just open up right here. Noticing how our hip is feeling. A lot going on here, a lot of range of motion going on in this pose as we're rotating a little bit here, feeling the hamstrings, feeling some opening across this hip. So different things going on in each hip right here. Let's come back to the lunge, drawing the knee open. Let's reverse warrior and see if we can press this hip down just a little bit to get more space on that side of our body. All these muscles in our core tie right into these muscles in our hips, which ties into these muscles of our legs. So let's take this to the other side. So we'll take it to our reverse warrior first. And then from here, let's straighten our leg. And again, let's just shift our hips a little bit. Noticing how that feels as this one's turned this way, this one's turned this way. Let's shift and reach. And then find our triangle. And I'm feeling a little bit of tightness on this side compared to the other, so I'm going to use the block. Let's also think about stacking our shoulder. And again, just noticing what's happening. in our body. We tend to use one side more than the other, or certain activities that we have to do, like driving, where we're using our legs in different ways than each other. Let's take this back to our reverse warrior, pushing this hip down, drawing the knee out toward our pinky toe. And let's lift up. And we'll walk our feet in halfway. Let's give our hips a little circle. So we worked the front and back. We worked the inside of our hips. Let's circle the other way. We've done some external rotation in our warrior. Let's do just a quick little bit of internal rotation right here, just to notice how that feels. Fun. And now we're going to hit the outer side or the glute area of our hips. For this, I recommend getting near a wall or having something nearby you can hold on to. We're going to take this to our figure 4 or pigeon stretch and standing balance. So let's begin here, shifting our hips back. And of course, try it without holding on. We should be feeling a nice stretch to that hip, especially if we get deep. But we're going to get a lot deeper on this in just a moment. That's why we need the 2 blocks. Let's go ahead and lift up from here. Switch to the other side. Again, hold on to something if you need to. No shame in holding on. Making sure we can breathe. All right, let's come back up from here. And again, one more time, let's circle. Now that we've got our legs nice and warm from all the standing work, let's take it the other way. We are going to go ahead and move into our deepest hip stretch. It is going to hit internal rotation, outer, front, all at the same time. We're going to look at our king pigeon. And that's why we need the blocks or a towel rolled up and our strap, if you want to even go into all of these options. Let's go ahead and begin with our Garland Pose. So we're going to separate our feet a little bit, hands at our heart. You can always take hands to your legs or the floor at any time. We're going to see if we can come down into a nice deep stretch, opening up through the inner thighs, getting a little into our ankles here as well. And of course, you can use hands here. If you're not as low as I am, we can have hands on our thighs. And let's go ahead and come on down to the floor. And we're going to roll over to our hands and knees. So we're going to begin with our Pigeon Pose, which is a very complex pose, and we're going to do it totally propped today. So have a block over here or your towel. A towel or pillow is really nice for this one. And we're going to bring one foot forward. And we're going to walk it across. So what we want to do is take our bottom right on to our block. And that'll keep us from rolling off. The thing we want to keep in mind as far as our hip alignment is keeping this hip pulling down toward the floor. Not rolling off, but toward the floor. We want this foot coming in and in more of a slightly pointed but relaxed position. And this may be where we stay today. Now it's possible, if somebody is feeling really good here, you can stay here with the back leg long, coming forward even deeper. Right now you should be feeling that glute area, the outer hip. But you can also be feeling some of this, and if you want to feel more of the front of the other thigh, we can lift up from here. And then this is where the strap comes in, which I should have already had handy. Remember this on the other side. So again, if you even want to go here, you can lift up, and some people can actually reach back and grab their foot. If you want to try it, you can reach back, take the strap, and get it up around the ankle, and take it here. So this is our fully propped King Pigeon Pose. Again, if you even want to go that far, here is good. The leg out straight is good. Play around with it, see how it feels. This one, like I said, is very complex. There's a lot going on. And I've discovered you either love it or you hate it. So if you're hating it, just have a seat. If you're loving it, well, we're going to move on. So let's lift ourselves up from here. And we're just going to take this around to the other side. So if you like using the strap, we'll go ahead and get it set and ready to go. Let's bring, I'll tell you what, I'll leave it back the way it was so you can kind of see how the hips look on the other side. So have that block there. Let's bring our foot forward and across. And here again, we're going to bring our hip. We want that sit bone on our block. Other foot coming in. And let's draw ourselves forward. So just begin here, seeing how this feels. And again, you're going to have one side that feels great. The other side won't feel so great. This is one pose where you're definitely going to notice whether the hips are the same or different. So we can always bring this forward. We can always just bend this leg up, reach back, or again, if we want, we can take hold of our strap around the ankle. And this is where we can use a towel as well. So lots of options. I'm just kind of picking what feels right for me today. And again, if you're not liking this, just roll over and have a seat because that's what we're all going to do in just a few seconds. Let's go ahead and push ourselves up and out. And we'll set this stuff aside. So let's move here to the inner thigh now. And one thing about it, if your knees don't go down like mine do, and they probably don't because I'm just weird, you can always take your towel, again, pillows and towels are great right here. You can always stay right here and come forward, working on this. Or again, just kind of work your way down with hands or elbows and just kind of see where you come on this. Everybody is different. But again, we want to make sure we're at a place where we can breathe. And let's lift up from here. We're going to take one leg, maybe back behind us. So stay in an easy seat here if your knee isn't happy. Now this has a little knee tie in as far as the hip goes. But we're just going to sit up tall right here. Now let's begin to twist ourselves around and take our hands square right here beside us. And we're going to draw our hips forward. And let's come back up. And now we'll bring this leg around. If we were in easy seat, let's just switch our front leg. If you want to try this on the other side, because again, one side may happen and the other side may not, give this a shot. And here again, we're going to start tall, take ourselves square to the other side. So a little twist in here. And just noticing how the side feels. So this is getting some of the front of our thigh again, opening up a little here, adding some twisting range of motion here. Now let's come out, and let's rotate our feet in again, and just kind of see what happens. I have a lot of internal rotation, so this works for me. Whereas when we go to the external rotation, not so much. But let's get some inner thigh again, legs out wide. So we're about to hit full range of motion again. Let's go down the center where we're going to feel this inner thigh here. But we're also starting to feel some of the hamstrings on the back of our leg here, which we can feel again even more as we come square ourselves over. We're probably feeling this all the way up to our sit bone. Now let's go to the other side, see how that side feels. And this is an area where I can feel a difference on each side. Let's come back to the center. See if we get a little further this time now that we stretched out through the hamstrings a little bit. Coming back into that inner thigh or groin area. All those things that tie into our hips. And let's sit back up. So we're going to look at another variation on our pigeon, getting the outside of our hips, which is going to be easy seat, folding forward, or double pigeon or firewall pose, where we place one calf on top of the other like we're stacking logs, and then we come forward. If you are in the stacked position, you should feel the hip of the leg that's on top a lot. But then again, we've already done full pigeon, so you might not feel it as much anymore. It might still be traumatized from that. Hopefully not. But it's interesting to kind of notice how the hip feels in these two variations, because to me, this feels so much nicer than the pigeon. As far as stretching through the hip here. Let's open up here and just come to an easy seat, easy fist behind us. And let's just lengthen and open up, feeling a little opening across the front of our hips. And then we'll come back to that easy seat or that log stack on this side. And when we're ready, we'll come forward. So as always, we want to make sure we breathe. And let's sit up from here, shake everything out. Let's come back to our easy seat. And just take a moment, I'll tell you what, let's take the leg that's in front. We're going to spin around to the opposite side. Take our hands out, hands to the floor, and just kind of spin around. See if we can stand ourselves up from here. Now let's come back to standing. Let's come back to where we started today and see how our hips are feeling. So let's go back to deep belly breaths, get our body relaxed again, and just check in with that hip and core area. Notice how it's feeling here. I'm feeling a lot going on here. Hopefully it's relatively the same on both sides, because we hit both sides the same, but you never know. Feel free to take some of these stretches for even longer if you feel like it. Make sure to check that Patreon link for me below, and don't forget to answer that question now that you've tried some different hip stretches. Which one is your favorite? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you next time.